Welcome. I'm Robin Smith, certified trauma and relationship coach, the founder of the Rock Your Relationships movement and the Rock Your Relationships Sisterhood on Facebook. And I'm doing an Ask Robin today, which is a thing I do about once a month in my Facebook group. Make sure to check the link for that if you'd like to join us there. It's totally free. And this question came in, which says how to overcome anxiety about the fear of being left out or not included in various relationships, whether it's at work or with friends or with family. So thank you for your question. And the first thing I want to say is you are definitely not alone. In fact, I just supported a friend through this a couple of days ago, and I have felt it myself, and I've supported many clients through this. So it is not uncommon to have this fear of not being included. And in fact, it's wired into our genetics. Like, we are tribal people. We are not meant to be alone. There's a lot of people living alone, which isn't the healthiest thing, I think. But we're meant to be, the ancient peoples were living in community always. They were never living alone. They had a family and an extended family and a tribal community. So, and the worst fear for those people was being ostracized from the tribe, because how could you survive alone in the wilderness? So it's kind of wired in to have this fear of like being kicked out of the tribe or being left out. So it can go all the way back to that. And I'm going to address this with you on two levels, cognitive and emotional here. So we're starting with this cognitive level, just getting this understanding. So that piece, just understanding that, yeah, you're not alone, and it's part of being human to have this fear. I hope that's a little helpful anyway. And also that, for me, it's been helpful to consider that even though I want to be liked by everybody and included by everybody, I don't like everybody. Not everybody I would choose for a friend. So I have to get that the reverse is true. Not everybody would choose me for a friend either. And when I can get caught up to that reality, like I can get more okay with, okay, they're not my people. And then I can turn my attention towards, well, who are my people? And point myself towards those who are choosing me and who are including me. Because there are a lot of people who aren't including me, probably a lot more than who are. So I think that's really helpful, to turn towards what is working and who those people you are choosing, and where it's mutual and where you do feel included and connected, and not put so much attention on where you don't, because that just perpetuates the pain and the fear and the anxiety that you're talking about. So that's the cognitive level. And I hope that is somewhat helpful to just remember that bigger picture. And we can have that be helpful from an adult perspective, right? Like the adult in you knows, okay, not everyone's going to be my friend, and I'm not going to be everyone's friend, and not everyone's going to choose to include me. And yet it can still hurt on a deeper level. And so let's say that on this deeper level might be an emotional level, or even like a childhood level, that on to the younger part of us, all this cognitive understanding of things doesn't necessarily help when we have a childhood wound around being excluded, not being chosen, things like that. So that's what I want to address now. So I invite you to consider for yourself, if you know that in whatever way you didn't feel included as a child. Did you have an old, like a trauma that happened where you were left out or kicked out or excluded or pushed away or humiliated or something like that, where you felt separated or ostracized? And if so, it would make more sense why this happening as an adult would hurt more, because it taps right into a deeper wound. So let's look at that for a moment. So I can't necessarily help you with all of that here, because if it is a deeper wound, it just takes more time to unpack and more support than I can give kind of in a general way on a free video here. So just to say that, but also to say, I hope what I'm going to say next is helpful. I'm going to ask you some questions. So if you have this fear of being left out, my next question for you is, what are you most afraid of about that? about not being included? What's the fear underneath? You can pause the video and just take a moment to journal about that and ask yourself this question. What are you even more afraid of if you were to be left out? And my thought is you might say something like, I'm scared of being alone or forgotten, dying alone, things like that. And so again, like I get that too. I've had that fear, if that's you saying that. And then what's the scariest thing about that? Like if you're alone, what's the scariest part about that for you? And again, just take a moment to journal about that. Like, where do you go with it? Or what do you make it mean? Do you make it mean I'm not lovable, I'm not likable, I'm not worthy, people don't care? So where do you go with that? Because that's usually what causes the anxiety, is what we make it mean. Like there's being alone, which maybe isn't your preference, but then there's what you do with it in your head, right? And that's where we can make ourselves more scared and kind of trip out on the worst possible case scenario. And then that's what turns it into anxiety. Because in the moment, like nothing horrible may happen if you're just alone, right? Or if you didn't get invited to the party. But then what you make it mean is where you can just spiral down with yourself. And so that's why I'm asking you these questions. And the next question is, what other feelings are there even underneath the fear? Like say if you got to the deeper fear underneath the not being included, and then if you go to the next level of what other feelings are there, and some of the hardest feelings are anger or grief or sadness, what is it for you if you aren't included? So again, taking a moment with that for yourself. And then if you get to that, like, oh, there's really a lot of grief about, what happened when I was a child, or about not being lovable, or whatever stories you're telling yourself, then that's where the deeper work is. It's not just about the fear of not being included, but it's probably this wound around what you make it mean, and the other feelings that might be there that maybe haven't been explored thoroughly and worked through. And so that's where, like in a public video, it's hard for me to help you with that. But I want to plant the seed for you to get deeper support if you are uncovering this piece around an old wound around, or an old feeling that hasn't been fully processed, an old emotion that needs to be worked through, in my world, we say it needs to be completed so that you can feel more free and light. Because ultimately, we do want to get to a place where we're okay with ourselves, and we're okay with who likes us and who doesn't, who rejects us and who doesn't, because we're all going to get rejected by certain people. Like we can't avoid that. We're all going to get chosen by certain people. Whether we choose them back is another question. But that's the more adult conversation. Like when we work through the childhood wounds, we can get to this more adult place of like, I'm okay if that person doesn't like me, or if those people don't choose me, I can still be okay. I may have some pain around it. I may feel a lot of grief around it. It hurts, but I'm okay. And that's what I would hope for you, to get to that place. And so if you can't get to that place on your own, which I wouldn't be surprised, most of us can't, then I really support you in reaching out for more support from a coach, a therapist, whoever you're called to. And if you would like to talk to me more, then you can look below. And if you haven't met with me already, you can grab a session on my calendar for a relationship breakthrough session. And I'd be happy to talk with you further about how I might be able to help you through some wounds, because I think we all have old childhood wounds. And if we don't work them through, we end up acting them out in our adulthood. And it can feel really chaotic. It can feel really painful. And we can be in blame or complaining or a lot of anger and criticism. And those things can come from our deeper wounds that haven't been worked through. So if you're in a place that feels maybe kind of like teenagehood, like they didn't invite me and that's not cool, and they're bitches and they're mean girls, or whatever might be coming out of your mouth, or and if it feels kind of like, high school, then you want to be looking at, okay, this feels old and there's some wounds in here that have been triggered, and that's showing me that's where I have more work to do. So that's what I want to point you towards the most. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Again, click the link below to join my Facebook group and ask more questions there. Watch my videos there. And also I have a lot of videos on this channel on YouTube if you're watching me here. And again, you can look for the link to grab a relationship breakthrough session with me, and we can go further with this conversation. Thanks for watching. I hope it's been helpful. Like the video, subscribe if you want more of this content, and have a beautiful day.